Good afternoon, Wealth Our Way family. It is your man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform, Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. Today is Tuesday, June 8th, 2021. I'm blessed to be here, and I'm just very thankful that those of you who have chosen to join us live today, either via Facebook or YouTube, have gotten all set and ready to go for part two of Portfolio Building 101, Choosing Your Room. And I always got to give a special salute to Wealth Our Way Nation, who watches our program pre-recorded overnight, over the weekends, or wherever they can squeeze 15 minutes of financial literacy in. I am very excited to continue along this path of speaking about portfolio building. I talked to you guys yesterday about how we're going to approach this with the house, room, furniture analogy. And yesterday we covered the house. We covered where you can choose to do business at, whether you are doing business through an employer sponsored plan, whether you are going to a full service brokerage house, whether you are going to a discount service brokerage house, or using one of the new apps that also serve as a discount brokerage platform. Those are what we would like to think in our mind as the house in which we do business. Today, we're going to talk about the room inside the house. So I told you guys I came up with this analogy after talking to a friend who became a client when she said to me one day, she said, I have an IRA at a bank and my IRA earns 4% interest. And I am a stickler and an educator when it comes to financial literacy. So I had to let her know that her IRA didn't earn any interest. And she was confused and like, what are you talking about, Tank? I said, an IRA is an account. An IRA is a holding vessel. So now, once again, go to the analogy. It is like your living room. You don't necessarily say, I'm going to go sit in the living room. You say, I'm going to sit on the chair in the living room. Unless you grew up like me, poor, and you don't have any furniture, then you just go sit in the living room. But the reality is that inside of an account, we keep an investment or we keep an asset. But the first thing we need to know is what account to choose. And just like a living room is different from a bedroom, and a bedroom is different from a kitchen, and a kitchen is different from a dining room, different accounts do different things for us. Different accounts tax differently. They allow you to take money out in different ways. So we're going to talk about these rooms/accounts today. So one of the biggest things that people are doing with their finances are preparing for retirement. The federal government, you've heard me talk about this on previous programs, the federal government rewards behavior they want to see you perform. One of the behaviors that the federal government wants to see you perform is saving for your retirement. Back when the New Deal was introduced many, many decades ago, Social Security was invented, and Social Security was supposed to take care of America's retirees. What many people failed to realize as they critique the Social Security system is that we had a much lower age expectancy 70 years ago, 80 years ago, 90 years ago, 100 years ago. And people tended to work damn near up to the point where they passed away. Now we are preparing for 20, 30, in some cases, 40 years of retirement, God willing. And as a result, with the population growing and with the people in the population living longer and longer, the government cannot afford to pay for everyone's retirement. Social Security is not as huge a part of your retirement plan as it was, in the decades past. So with that being said, if the government's not going to pay for your retirement, who else can pay for your retirement? Well, around the same time that Social Security was invented, we had huge corporations, government entities that allowed their employees to retire and continue to get paid once they retired. This is called a pension. Your employer can provide you with income in your retirement. Back when big corporations were first starting and were competing for employees, this was the norm. I want to say in America at one point in time, over 90% of large businesses offered some form of pension. That number is down under 18% now. Many companies have done away with their pension plans in an effort to increase their own profitability and lower their out-of-pocket costs for their aging population. Also, government agencies now, they still give pensions. Most government agencies still provide you a pension, but unlike times past, you are contributing to your pension. My wife works in a school district and she contributes to her pension the same way we contribute to private retirement accounts. So it's not your job's going to take 100% care of you when you retire. We've already talked about the government not taking 100% care of you when you retire. Who does that leave? You and me to take care of ourselves. The government is trying to incentivize you to do that. So they've created accounts, rooms to allow you to place furniture, investments in so that you can grow and privately take care of your own retirement. How do they reward you? What is the number one thing that our government does as far as bringing in revenue? They tax people. They tax us. How can you reward someone? You can lower the tax. So that is what you normally will see in retirement accounts is tax deferral. What does tax deferral mean? It means we are pushing down into the future a tax that you could pay today. So if you are at your employer-sponsored 401k or 403b plan, and it is a traditional plan, not a Roth plan. So I want to let you guys know the air is not on at Casa de Harris in the back. I got my window open. I got my fans going, but it's towel time. So just let's keep it funky. With that being said, the air conditioning is very, very loud. Y'all wouldn't be able to hear me. So with that being said, we have to look at how these deferred accounts treat our money. If you make $1,000 in the course of a week and you have agreed to put 10% of your salary into your retirement account, you are going to receive $900 and your retirement account is going to receive $100. At the end of the year, when we look at how much money you received, they're not going to say, hey, he made $52,000, 1,000 times 52. No, they're going to say he made $52,000 less $5,200, which is $46,800. So you are actually going to pay tax on $46,800 as opposed to $52,000. That's a tax break. That is how they are rewarding you, so to speak. With that being the case, when you do that inside of an employer's plan, it's called a 401k or 403, or a 457. If you do it outside of your employer's plan, it is called an individual retirement account, otherwise acronymically known as an IRA. So when people say they have an IRA, they are talking about an account that allows them to put money away for their retirement, and it comes with certain restrictions. The government, because they are giving you a tax break on the way in, they specifically want this money to be used for retirement, so they penalize you if you take it out for something other than retirement. So they set an age of 59 and a half, and they say if you take money out before that age, it is considered a premature withdrawal. And as a result, you're penalized 10%. You also pay taxes at that time. So I've told people many times on this program, if I have a choice to save money for retirement, I would prefer a Roth IRA account as opposed to a traditional IRA account. I would prefer a Roth 401k to a traditional 401k. My mindset is very simple on that. I would rather get tax breaks on a larger amount of money than a smaller amount of money. So going back to my example of putting earning $1,000 a week and putting $100 of it into an IRA, that's a small amount. I don't necessarily need a tax break on $100 a week. With if I'm in the 20% effective tax rate, we're talking about a $20 tax break a week or $1,040 for the year. I'd rather wait until that money grew and turned into $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 and not pay tax on that amount. The other thing is we don't have any idea what the tax rate is going to be in the future. So we can talk about it being 20% now. I'm of the belief that it will be higher when we're in retirement. So when we go back to talking about accounts, IRA, 401k, 403b, there are other accounts that are not tax deferred. They're not tax preferential. These are just regular taxable brokerage accounts or bank accounts. You can have an account that anything that you put into it is taxed immediately. When I sit down with my clients, we go over the 3 buckets approach: tax now, tax later, tax never. Tax now is a taxable account, or your paycheck. Anything that you earn in this current year is taxable right now. Tax later, it's in an account where we will push the taxes down to some point in the future. Tax never means we're never going to pay tax on it. So when I look at a taxable brokerage account, I have a lot of high net worth clients that have fully funded all of their retirement accounts to the highest levels of the legal limit. They still have money they want to put away. At that point, we go into a taxable account. And although I am a strong practitioner of tax mitigation, I don't like paying any more tax than is necessary. I can have better tax control sometimes for my clients in a taxable account than I can have in a tax deferred account. Why do you say that? Once again, the government rewards what it wants you to do. It wants you to invest. So for investment taxes currently, that may change under our current administration, they provide you with a capital gains tax reduction. So when you pay capital gains on any asset that you've held for a long term, you'll pay significantly less in taxes than the highest marginal tax rate. One of the things that goes into the tax never bucket, yes, is life insurance. So that was a question from the audience. With that being said, when we look at the tax now bucket, I tell my clients that I can control their taxes by doing tax harvesting. So let's say, for instance, I have 10 positions in their portfolio. As we know, if you've learned here on Wealth Our Way, nothing goes straight up all the time. So I may have 2 very big winners in their portfolio, 3 very big losers, and 5 that are just hanging around the middle. What I can do at the end of the year is I can do what's called tax loss harvesting. Sell the losers, realize the loss, and put it against any gains so that I minimize my taxes. It's a little more complicated than what I want to cover here today, but do know that tax loss harvesting, holding the wash rule, all of these different things that deal with the 30-day hold period to realize this tax break are all possible in a taxable account. I may want to be in a taxable account as opposed to a deferred account, because if I'm in a deferred account, like an IRA or a 401k, 50 years passed. I started when I was 20, now I'm 70. And at that point in time, the tax rate is 47%. I'm giving up almost half of my money to taxes. Likewise, if I had a taxable account and I was able to hold these assets the whole time, do some tax loss harvesting throughout the process, I get to retirement with this big amount of money. Now I have some choices on how I can access it. I can sell it with lower term capital, long-term gains. I can borrow against it and leave it as be and just pay margin interest. I have some options that I wouldn't have in my IRA. So that is choosing your room. For your room, you can have a tax deferred account like an IRA or a 401k or 403b, a tax now account like a checking account, money market account, or taxable brokerage account, or a tax never account like IRA, or as was pointed out by our audience member, my sister Tasha Wana, we could have some type of cash value life insurance. With that being said, come back tomorrow. We will talk about the furniture to put in this room. Remember, Wealth Our Way, our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. Have the best day.